This is an extremely important lesson. So many falsehoods are cleared up by getting this lesson right. It is entitled, Are the Dead Really Dead? Are the Dead Really Dead? Or, why come back for a body that is already in heaven? Why come back for a body that is already in heaven? Let us get right into it. This is a lesson, as most of our lessons are, not all, which is done in a particular format. Sometimes, few times, depending upon the subject matter of the lesson, we will have a lesson in which mostly you're being taught, lecture style. This lesson is presented in question and answer style, using the Socratic method, which oftentimes, besides the telling of stories, called parables, the Messiah also used, because it really is the best form of teaching. When you ask questions, you force the listener to think. And that's what we're missing today. Our whole world systems of economy and education is all controlled by the devil. Scripture tells us this. For Hashatan is the prince of this world, which means the prince of this world system. In order for us to follow Yahweh, we have to literally not follow the world system. So what system do we follow? Alas, the system from Bereshith, Genesis, to Revelation in the Holy Scriptures of Yisrael. And you'll hear me use that term rather than the Bible. The Bible is generally a translation of the Holy Scriptures. And in that translation, it was translated by men who were not holy. So there are errors in the translation. When you do the work of correcting those errors, then you are getting back to the Holy Scriptures, the original intention and language in which the Holy Scriptures were written. So that's a very clear distinction, because the devil uses that intermediary step to deceive us. And if you clear up those deceptions, man, it really lifts the eyes. And we will have lessons to do with that. This format also encourages home study and follow-through in the examples of the Bereans mentioned in the book of Acts, chapter 17, verses 10 through 15. If you remember, the Bereans are held up in Scripture as an example as to how we are all supposed to be, backed up in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, when it speaks of showing yourself approved, a workman who is rightly dividing the word because of his study. Well, the Bereans were that way. The Apostle Paul taught them, and every day they said, sound good, we're going to go home and meditate and check out what you just taught us, and we'll be back tomorrow if you check out. That's how we're supposed to be. That's how we're supposed to be. Now here's the key. For all of you Protestant Christians out there, here's the key. At the time the Apostle Paul was teaching the Bereans, what scriptures were there that he was teaching from? Because the New Testament had not been written yet. Excuse me. Let me get your attention. The New Testament had not been written yet. Hello, somebody. Anybody out there listening? That should really get your attention. The Apostle Paul, the one who Protestants claim brought everything into the light of no more law, is relevant for our salvation. That apostle. Now, you cannot even begin to glean that false doctrine from what is commonly called the Old Testament. The Old Testament is all about the law. You want to live? Obey. You want to be cursed and die? Don't obey. It is as plain as the glasses on my face. Are we getting this? The Apostle Paul taught the Bereans from the Old Testament. The Apostle Paul was not inconsistent in his teachings. And the Bereans came back every day and said, you check out, you can continue teaching us. Hello, somebody. There's a lot of falsehood out there. But with Yahweh as our guide and the Spirit of Yeshua in our hearts, we don't have to fear that deception. He has given us means, and this ministry is one of those means, to clear away the cobwebs of those deceptions. Once we accept the Holy Scriptures of Yisrael as a definitive guide to all truth, we can then begin the long process of removing the cloak of deception Hashatan is placed over every human's lives. Revelation 12:9. What does that scripture say? It says the Hashatan comes to the earth with all wrath and deceives, present tense, translation checked out, deceives the whole world. That means that when you read that scripture back in year 1 AD, when you read that scripture in year 500 AD, when you read that scripture in year 1500 AD, when you read that scripture in year 2010 AD, it's just as relevant. It is current tense. Christians, listen to me. Jews, listen to me. You are deceived. I was deceived. No brag on me. All praise to Yahweh. We were all born into deception. Don't get all egotistical and defensive about that. It's just a fact of truth. The deception is so widespread throughout the world that Yahweh is hidden. That's the devil's goal. To hide the truth of Yahweh so as to win the war. See, the devil knows that she can't win in a straight up fight on power. So she uses the one thing that she has equal to Yahweh, which is wisdom. The scripture says that before the fall of the devil, she was perfect in wisdom. Now, there's only one definition for perfect, and that means equal to Yahweh. Yahweh is perfect, so if you have any perfect characteristics, you are equal to Yahweh in that characteristic. Yahweh's word, not mine. But the devil is not perfect in power, not perfect in knowledge, but she is perfect in wisdom. Now here's the key. She thinks she can outsmart Yahweh. The pride of wisdom. She thinks, which you see in science and humanism, movies that depict a humanistic spirituality like Star Wars and others, that there is a secret knowledge that if we just continue to advance technologically, it will include spirituality.